When you first encounter Kuva Liches and Sisters of Parvos, your kit is likely underpowered, especially when they rank up. What if I told you there's a weapon you can obtain at Master Rank 9 and it can one-shot even level 5 Liches and Sisters? Twin Rogga is the unlikeliest suspect you can think of, but it works so well. Weapon is wonky, but it has two things going for it, and that makes it work here. It has very high damage per shot, and it has the highest multi-shot out of all secondary weapons. You probably noticed that Liches and Sisters take way less damage than your weapons are capable of doing, and that's because they have this mechanic of capping damage per projectile. So overwhelming them with projectiles is your best bet. Ever since I discovered this, Twin Rogga is my go-to weapon for dealing with Liches and Sisters. Another convenient reason for it is that it's a secondary weapon. I can roam around with my primary weapon of choice, and when my nemesis spawns, I just pull it out of my pocket, shoot a few enemies to get that secondary deathhead going, and bam, Lich is on its knees. To build it, it's basically damage, multi-shot, put in 2 elementals that Lich is not immune to, preferably having prime heat in there because it has a high number. Secondary arcane is in there because headshot damage does apply to Liches and Sisters. Though if your build is melee focused, using dexterity would be sufficient. Reload mod helps to make weapon more usable, but if you like it, you can increase magazine capacity or even go as far as to use energized munitions there. But it one-shots any level Lich or Sister with a headshot. It's probably better to use damage buffs to ensure that. As it's still a shotgun and spread is a thing, you basically need to hit as many projectiles as possible to one-shot, so being close is definitely beneficial. You can even add faction damage to it, depending on your build, to reach high enough damage to one-shot. But two-shotting ain't half bad either. Riven disposition of this weapon is bonkers, and my Riven has damage and multi-shot, which sure helps AF. But even without it, weapon still does its work in this role. Rivens for this weapon are dirt cheap, so it's worth getting one as it cheeses Liches and Sisters. It's a one-clap weapon, so I went full ham to build it. If you are rolling the Riven, I would always prefer multi-shot over any other stat, because for example, with this Riven and Galvanized Diffusion on max stacks, we are looking at close to 80 projectiles per shot. No Lethal Torrent in my build because of that overwhelming multi-shot on Riven and Galvanized mod. And also fire rate on Lethal Torrent adds next to nothing on this weapon because of that low magazine size. Rare case scenario where we don't use this mod. But without a Riven you can go with Lethal Torrent and ditch reload for Hornet Strike to maximize damage per shot, making it wonky without reload, but weapon is still in your pocket to shoot twice and then go back to your pocket. One thing you might find odd in my build is the use of critical damage with this weapon, because weapons based critical chance is 10%. I use Atlas in these missions, and on him I'm forcing criticals with Arcane Avenger and a Dorzokavat. As you see, it's strong even for general use, but to be fair, I'm just showcasing a weapon. In general, I'm not using it much. It's just there sitting in my pocket to one-clap Liches and Sisters. It does not break damage against hounds. They apparently work differently, so you still need a few shots to nail those to the ground. It's a bit different when you get into a railjack fight. There, both Liches and Sisters appear to have some sort of adaptation with a cooldown, so spamming damage does not appear to be as good as just shooting them once, making a circle, running around for a few seconds, and then hitting them again. That's my interpretation from fighting them. I have no confirmation for it, it's just my experience. But I did max all the weapons to 60%, so I did a lot of them, and that's my best guess. Atlas is also my go-to frame for these missions. He's tanky, has strong one-punch that adds invulnerability, and also his passive makes him immune to knockdowns. Also forcing those criticals with Atlas works across the entire loadout, which you can check out in my video on Atlas. Another tip I'd like to share is something that I didn't really follow while making this video. Since Sisters are faster to farm, do not use Requiem ultimatums on them. Use Sisters to farm Requiem ultimatums, and then use those on Liches. Lich system is still far slower. It takes like 50% longer to finish off a lich because of murmur farm as well as their provoked meter. Liches are far slower to get mad at you. I'd like that to be changed, but as is, I suggest dealing with it this way. Using Requiem Ultimatum to spawn a lich after you have a good idea of what combination is, or at least 50-50, it's worth it. As once you get to trying to learn 3rd Requiem, it can take forever. Reason I did not follow that tip here is basically because recording takes so much space and editing large files is slow. Ul mods, aka Joker Requiem mods. My tip is to use them in every combination to cut your time to farm them all. Even if you use it on every single one of them, you will always have some lying around. Of course, if you're 100% sure which mod is in there, then you can save one charge on it, but that's about it. Always use it. If you're just jumping into the Nemesis system, it can be helpful to have crowd control on your side. That on your side, and this beast in your pocket, and you've got nothing to worry about. Thank you for watching, subscribe to help the channel grow, and I'll see you in the next one.